Hi, um, I'm Haley, and I am going to talk about my journey and what it's been like. I'm now 33 years old, and I'm going to kind of share my story and what I've learned through the years, and really as I've like grown into my own person. Because I've obviously had an upbringing and an influence. And it started with like my senior year in high school. That was when I really like started to break through free, your independence and your driving and your um, like deciding to do, you're doing more of your own things. My father was is a chiropractor, and my mother was grew up as a dancer, a fitness instructor, and a personal trainer. And I grew up as a dancer as well. And so I've always been active in that way and had that influence. But then I, experienced eating out, and I had just my first like weight gain in a year was like my senior year in high school when I'm pretty much eating fast food, things like that. And it slowly continued to go up um, as I was like going out, drinking, those late night Taco Bell runs, and living that night lifestyle. But then also, I continued to dance a lot in my like late teens, early 20s. And I still like continued to go to my mom to put me on a workout plan and a meal plan whenever she's like, hey, do you want this? I'm like, sure. When I was trying to drop a few pounds for a spring break trip. And then again, when I was engaged and getting ready to be married. So I stuck to her nutrition plan, but I also went to one of those like GNC places, and I got a fat burner and had those as well assisting me. And I want to say I lost 22 pounds for my wedding day in 9 months. And obviously I felt great, but then when I stopped doing all that stuff, I gained weight again. And I didn't really have like really that accountability or community like helping me. I just was, happily married. But then I got pregnant, and then I got pregnant with baby number two, and they were all two under two. And so at that point, I was like those 2 years went by. I wasn't able to get into the dance studio. It was very hard for me to get to the gym. I was, I had obviously like I knew how to eat, but it got hard with two kids to really like focus on that. And then, so I got back to the gym a little bit, and it was harder. And I was trying to do like those little quick workouts at home, like from Pinterest and things like that. And a client of mine, so I'm a hairdresser, a client of mine, she was older, she was in her 50s, and she's like, I'm doing this Beachbody thing, and I've got DVDs, and like she was just telling me a little bit. And I was like, well, this sounds kind of cool because it's at home and I can do this at home. And it started with that. And I later, someone ran and like connected with me. She was more my age. She had young kids. And I told her, I said, I'm down about 15 pounds, but I want to get 15 pounds, like, and keep going. And I'm struggling in my nutrition. And she's like, I have a group for you. You can join it for free. Like, you're already, you've got the PIO, you've got a nutrition plan right here for you, but like, I think this is really going to help you. And so I joined, and it was every single day, those small, like one day at a time, 1 week at a time, the motivation and the accountability that really, within 6 months, I dropped the last like 13, 14 pounds. And I got to my weight I was junior year in high school at 30 years old. And I felt great. And I had a plan that my husband and I could do together. And the kids were little. So it was easy for us to make a meal and feed the kids their like little bits of food. And it wasn't too difficult yet. I had another baby, and then the pandemic came, and I was scrambling for that accountability in that community again. And the coach that was helping me was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And I was like, but I need this. So I got to be with her coach, and it was an even bigger community, and it was you guys. And so I think I've been such an outgoing, like I had the dance community for so many years, and that I've lost that. I mean, I'm not able to be as involved anymore, but the social media, like this community now, has been really like what I've held on to. And I think it's really helped with like the stress and anxiety and depression that like has come with 3 kids and like that isolation at home. And however, this past 6 weeks, I really dove into nutrition in a different way. And I've really I've been tracking my weight and my sleep and my meals. And I'm looking at I feel like a nutrition plan is not a one size fits all. I think it's really about not looking at like, oh, I shouldn't eat these things, I should be eating these things. It's like, okay, I'm writing these things down, but like, what are the things I'm not writing down? Those things that you feel guilty of, instead of looking at like, I should feel guilty because these are not what I should be eating, but more like, well, how do I feel after I eat these things? And so it's more like, if I've avoided to track these, is it because of these are bad for me, or is this not helping my energy? Is this not helping my mood? Is this not helping me feel better and like less tired the next day? And so I am more looking at that mindset. I think that mindset of like, well, sure, it's not good for you, but why? Why? Like, is it making you feel tired? Is it making you, just things like that? And I'm really going through like the mantra of like, really like, I'm also looking at when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And that's the big thing, especially through the weekend, is to thinking about, okay, if I eat this on a Saturday, how do I want to feel on Sunday? And that's really helping me making those decisions in the present. So that's really helped me in those small changes. I'm not just switching like, oh, I'm cutting all of this out at once. I'm making the small changes to boost my mood, boost my energy, and make it a better day overall. So That's pretty much what I have looked at with any nutrition plan that I've been on, whether it's like, so many vegetables in a day or so much water in a day. I'm looking at, well, if I keep following this plan, how is it making me feel? So I'm going to is it Natasha that wants to go next?
Yes, I will go next. Thanks,
Okay.
Haley.
Mm-hmm.
I love that personally. I love that you mentioned how now you're making changes based on how you would like to feel, not necessarily is it a bad food, is it a good food? You're eating things and seeing how it makes you feel and then making choices based off of that, just how you would like to feel. And I think that is so major. And I think a lot of nutrition plans and diets people will follow lack that. And that's why I really love the two nutrition plans that I've learned about through Beachbody, with the Portion Fix and the 2B Mindset, because they have developed and made these things available to us with a focus on eating foods that make us feel good. It's not about restriction and it's not about like things we can't have. It's just introducing and putting more into our lifestyle of things that actually make us feel our best. So I love that because we're humans and our human experiences and our lifestyles come with ups and downs. We're not going to have perfection, and perfection isn't achievable or maintainable long term at all. Like you were saying before, how you lost all this weight, and as soon as you came off of all of those things you were doing, you would gain the weight back because it's not maintainable. So a nutrition plan really has to be something that can be sustained long term. So the focus really should be on eating the things that make you feel good. Right. So I just love that the programs offered here recognize that and recognize that there are, going to be indulgences and enjoying life. And it's just all about finding ways to make good choices when it comes to nutrition that fuel us and have us feeling the best that we can. And on top of that focus, I just have fallen in love with the 2B Mindset nutrition plan specifically. It's been a game changer for me as an emotional eater and a social eater, because that plan goes even deeper into helped me get to the root cause of those habits for me, and just put a focus on me doing some more inner work and making some changes to, support all of the, outside work and choices that I wanted to be making in my life. If you're watching the replay or you don't know me when you're on the call, I am a 35-year-old wife and I am a stay-at-home mom to a 4-year-old sassy but sweet but crazy little lady. And I'm here. I have stressful days and I'm just here with like this pantry full of snacks, just at my disposal all day long, and those days where I'm stressed and looking for comfort and just kind of want to zone out were so hard for me to avoid emotional eating. Because I thought that eating would bring in comfort to the situation that I didn't feel in control of at the time. It would help me relax when I was feeling stressed. And I'm sure other people feel me, whether you're a mom or not. I think we all have that sometimes where we will reach to food for comfort. And just when we're struggling. And it's just plain and simply put in that nutrition plan that I was learning about. She just kind of called it out and she said, it's never okay to eat for comfort because it doesn't help anything that's actually happening in the moment, anything that we're struggling with in the moment. And then on top of that, we feel bad about ourselves after we've gone and, eaten all the cookies and all the chips and then cheese and then some bread, Not only are we still in that stressful situation, nothing has changed, but now we feel bad about ourselves about it, So it just ends up making us feel worse. And it's that simple reason that she says it's not okay to eat out of emotion. There's something deeper going on within us that needs to be tackled so that we don't end up feeling worse in the long run. And just knowing that was so transformative for me, because I just switched from I'm going to eat this because I've had a stressful day or I deserve it, to what do I really need in this moment? It's beyond food. What do I need in this moment? Food's not going to fix anything about it. So let me take a minute and think about what do I need in this moment? And there's so much healing that can happen when you start to address that. It caused me to dive, deeper into my own personal development and personal growth and just kind of working on those parts of me and becoming aware of what is lacking in that moment. Because I don't want to feel worse in the long run. So I want to find out what I need in that moment to feel better. So it was about going into some personal development and then also making those tiny shifts in the moment. I had to think about what are other ways I can feel comforted right in the moment without resorting to, food or even wine or something like that. And I made, my own list. Like I feel calmer and less stressed when I'm organized and I'm clearing clutter. So many times, if we can just clear clutter up in our, external in our environment, it helps us feel a lot clearer and calmer inside as well. So I'll just start organizing and cleaning sometimes if I'm feeling kind of stressed. If I'm doing something with my daughter, I know that coloring and playing with Play-Doh are two things that help me feel more relaxed. And you know what? Sometimes that food felt like a warm hug around you. We have so many memories tied to food that can, help us feel that comfort in the moment. And I'm just okay now with calling my mom or calling a friend for support to be that hug, like get a physical hug if I need to from somebody. But if I'm just here by myself with my daughter, then it's just giving somebody a call for that long distance support and hug. Those things are actually going to make me feel better in the long run and in the moment, and food wasn't doing that. So that was just huge for me. And this is not to say that there are not days where I don't indulge and enjoy foods, because I do. It's just I'm trying, not to do that out of seeking comfort anymore, because there's nothing wrong with having indulgences. Like I said before, it's just part of life and it's part of a sustainable lifestyle when it comes to your nutrition. I want my indulgences to be savored and enjoyed and just like really savoring that flavor of whatever it is I'm having. And when you're emotionally eating, you're just kind of like stuffing your face with whatever you have. You might not even really like it. It just might be on hand and you're going to eat it because you think it's going to provide you some sort of comfort in some way, and it's really not. And then we feel bad afterwards. I want my indulgences to feel good and to be savored and enjoyed. So my main parts here, I'm going to wrap this up, but it's just that nutrition is about so much more than just dieting and restricting yourself from things. And it should be about fueling your body with things that make you feel your best and making choices based off of that. And then in addition to it, like addressing any type of inner work that needs to be done in order to help you get along with your way. Like if it's emotional eating or social eating, that's addressed in the To Be Mindset program I've been talking about. If you're not familiar with that, I know we're all on here talking, we're Beachbody coaches. Whoever sent you this video to watch or invited you to this call is a Beachbody coach as well. They can get you some information on these nutrition programs that we are speaking about. And I just want you to know that it's okay to find alternate ways to feel comfort in the moment. Maybe if it's one of the things that I listed off, whether it's cleaning and organizing, calling your mom for like that virtual hug, or if you live close to her, if you can actually go get a hug, or whoever makes you feel comforted and supported and just takes away that stress, something that's going to make you feel good long term. not just in that momentarily fleeting, let me just eat for comfort type of way. So I hope that helps you guys out as well, in addition to everything that Haley was saying. And with that, I am going to hand it over to Amanda.
Hello, girls. Both those stories are so relatable to so many people because, we live in a society that just, I think we're getting through the diet stage, but for many years, I'm 43 and like all I knew was diets, right? Like, or like not eating. So in my early 20s, I was anorexic. I'll just say it what it is. And I was just over exercising was my form of it. And under eating. I was eating, but under eating and really just working out like as much as I possibly could. So that's how my diet life started. So imagine then like trying to sustain that. I still have a hard time because I wouldn't leave the gym until I burned 1,000 calories back then. I still have a hard time seeing a workout. And if it's less than 200 calories, I'm like, that seems so weird to me. It's not weird. It's just because of the conditioning that I created 20 years ago that's still stuck in my mind. And I think so many people struggle with that because we're now in our 30s, maybe your 40s, and you're conditioned from 10 plus years ago that was the lifestyle, that the dieting was normal. Dieting was what everybody did. Now, thank God, in 2022, dieting is kind of a dirty word to most people. Like we do want to ditch the diet, break up with the diet, but a lot of people don't know how. I didn't know how. So I went from that extreme that I just explained to the opposite extreme in my 30s. By the time I was 30, I was over 200 pounds because of a divorce and depression and drinking too much and going out too much and eating too much, all the emotional stuff that Natasha and Haley just talked about, I struggled with. I went from one extreme to the other. And I think a lot of people do that because they don't know that there is an in between and it doesn't have to be a one extreme or the other. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of mindset work. It does take, that conditioning is always there. It's still there inside of me because I have that conditioning of the calories that I just explained. I also have body image issues because of like body dysmorphia because of the way I looked when I was 200 pounds. So now that I'm like in this healthy, normal state, and I'll get to kind of how I got here, it is still tough and it is daily work for me. And I think we live in a society that wants instant gratification. So it's easy to go back to that diet because you might get that instant result, but it doesn't last. And you know it. If you are here watching this today, that does not last. And so I just wanted to touch a little bit on that kind of diet piece because I can relate to it so much. But I want to talk a little bit more about the health aspect of your nutrition and how important it is, as both of these ladies spoke about, just like paying attention to the feeling, that's paying attention to your health and not choosing foods because they look good, because they smell good, because they sound good, but choosing foods because they're good for your body and they're going to make you feel good, just as they talked. So you heard the diet side of my story. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the health side of the story. My sister was diagnosed with cancer in 2009, and it was a wake-up call. It was when I was at my highest weight and I was at my unhealthiest, and at that point, I didn't really care. I had lost all my grandparents to cancer at that point. None of that was a wake-up call. My grandma died of colon cancer. My mom was diagnosed with celiac, as were her sisters. Like, they're all like, you are probably celiac. You probably need to stop eating gluten. And it was like, screw you, mom. I just wasn't in the headspace to like hear any of it. until my baby sister was diagnosed. And it was like, whoa, she was 27 years old and I was 30. And it was like, what do you mean? Like, and I'm not saying that nutrition is the reason that everybody gets cancer, but what I learned, and I'll fast forward really quick and then I'll tell you what I learned. 2 years later, my best friend was diagnosed with cancer. Thankfully, my sister is in remission. My best friend didn't make it. And I always have to set the caveat, like, I don't believe that like they did anything wrong, right? There's, we get cancer, who knows why, right? At this point. But I've since Carrie passed away, really, I started to look at food differently. Actually, it was really when she was diagnosed, because she started looking at food differently. Because thankfully, after the first year after she was diagnosed, she was put in a remission and she was doing all the research. She was the gal that worked at GNC. She was a personal trainer. Like, we were like BFFs, like since high school, did all the same things. Super at that point now. That was 2012. I had lost the weight. I had started to like get into working out again and moving my body again. And so was she. And she was learning all about food and learning about the alkaline levels of food and the acidic levels of food and what it does to your body and how she could literally cure her cancer from the inside out. Like, that's what she was going for. And I wanted to do that too, even though, because I was terrified. The two closest people to me in my life had been diagnosed within 2 years of each other. Still terrified. And it's still the reason today that I focus so much on the foods that I put into my body and really try to just make good choices. I think someone said that in the comments, is just making the choices based on how I'm going to feel, based on, is this serving my body or is this full of crap? Most of our food is filled with crap. If you are shopping the aisles of the store and you're not shopping the perimeter of the store, our food, I can't even call it food, our food, but you know what I mean, is filled with crap. Inflammatory oils, sugar in like salsa, pasta sauce. Like, it is because I could go on a whole tangent, but it's addicting. All of those things are addicting, and the companies want you to come back and buy more. But those things are causing so many issues in our body. And I feel like as a society, we're starting to wake up to that. All that low calorie, low fat stuff that we lived on. I lived on that when I lost my weight the first time I lost weight in 2009. After my sister was diagnosed, I lived on lean cuisines, 100-calorie packs, low calorie everything, low fat everything, basically chemicals. But it was the lowest calorie stuff. All I knew was calories in, calories out. And now, since Beachbody, which was 2013, so if you're tracking with me, Carrie was diagnosed in 2011, 2012 in remission. We start diving into learning about about nutrition, but I still didn't fully know how to switch what I'd done for 15 years, right? 2013, Beachbody enters my life through a clean eating group. And it changed it all. Because it was a group of women just like us right here who were all excited to talk about nutrition. They were all excited to talk about food. They were all excited to talk about health. And I was like, oh my gosh, these are my people. There's other people in the world that want to talk about this, that don't want to just diet, that aren't just like complaining all the time about this doesn't work, this diet doesn't work. I did it for a week, it didn't work. But these are people that actually want to make change in themselves and in other people's lives. And so I first joined a clean eating group, which finally helped me like switch from like sour cream to Greek yogurt. I remember it was one of the big switches I made that I was like, oh, that's a healthier option. Or yogurt with fruit in the bottom to plain Greek yogurt, adding your own fruit to it and some honey. Like little switches. That 2013 was just mind blowing to me, just to learn that there was sugar in pasta sauce, that there was sugar in salsa. And I'm a teacher by trade. I was for 16 years. So at that time, I needed to teach everybody that there was a different way, that we didn't have to live in this diet mindset, that we didn't have to continue going back to that way of doing things that we had done in our 20s. I was now in my mid 30s. I was running marathons. I was starting down the road of health, I would say, but since joining Beachbody and like beginning to help others just by sharing like what I learned, I just paid it forward and started sharing that with others. I have just like constantly learned more and more and more and more and more about our health, about nutrition, about movement. I mean, I swear every year I'm learning something new. Now I'm all about like cycle phasing and all of these things. And it's all because I took one little risk into joining something that was going to teach me something. And I think a lot of times people are scared to do that because they think it's going to be the same as all the other things. And this is not the same as all the other things. We're not counting calories. We're not restricting food groups. We're not just giving you a pill to take or a drink or a spoonful of this or a whatever. Yes, we do have supplements that are helpful, but we teach nutrition and movement and mindset by partnering with some amazing trainers, nutritionists who partner with doctors and scientists that are doing the behind the scenes work. And then you get Autumn and Alana, who are our nutritionists, and what is Alana, or Autumn calls herself or a dietitian. I'm sorry, Alana's a dietitian. Autumn is a nutritionist, and those are the two programs, Portion Fix and To Be Mindset, that Natasha talked about. And we now have a brand new one that all this health stuff that I've been talking about all links back to your gut. So all that crap that I ate for years, all the low fat, lean cuisines, whatever crap I was just putting, alcohol, so much crap in my body, and yours as well, you likely have gut health issues. In the last 2 days, I've had 2 friends tell me that they went to a functional doctor and they told them that they have leaky gut. These are not friends that know even what I've been talking about about gut protocol in my stories or anything. These are 2 totally outside friends. Went to a functional doctor, told them they had a leaky gut, which is like the worst thing you could have. Like that's like the end of the spectrum. But actually 3, I'm sorry, it's 3 people. And it's just, it has to be from the food we're eating, the stress that we've had to endure over the last 2 years, plus all the stress before that, right? And people just don't know anymore how they can actually really feel. You can feel better. You don't have to walk around every day bloated. You don't have to walk around every day having diarrhea. That's one of my friends told me yesterday. Every single day, he had diarrhea for years. He'd get all this blood work. Nothing was helping him. You know what finally helped him? The doctor gave him some supplements, digestive enzymes, a probiotic, something else. He's like, I'm pooping normal. And he has started to change his diet too, but that's for men especially, it's the hardest thing to do. to tell them to give up dairy or give up gluten or give up sugar or give up soy. If that crap is making you feel like crap, why do we want to keep eating it? Because we're eating it because it makes us feel good emotionally. But is it making you feel good, like physically and energy wise? Is your skin clear? Do you have anxiety? Like, all of those things are signs that something bigger is going on. And it's time to switch that mindset to focusing on what makes you feel good. Focus on the health. Don't focus on, I don't know, what I keep thinking this week is we tell I've seen people share this before. Kids eat with their eyes, right? And it's true. But when we say that, we give kids a big plate of vegetables and fruit and things because we want them to, like, very colorful plate, right? You want them to like choose and try new things. I think adults, we eat with our eyes and we choose pizza, chips, ice cream, because those are things that have comforted us over the years and we want that comfort. So it kind of goes back to what Natasha said. But I want, you guys can hopefully feel the passion that I have for this topic, but I just want people to like focus more on what the food is actually doing inside of your body. What is it doing to your gut? Which is then, what is it doing to your overall energy, well-being, like day-to-day life? Are you able to have that energy to run after your kids? For me, and I'll wrap this up here, but for me, we are trying to get pregnant. I am a newlywed. Yes, I'm 43 and I'm trying to get pregnant for the first time in my entire life. And it is beautiful and exciting. And we are like leaning in our faith and our hope, but we're also really leaning into our nutrition and our supplements and our movement and our mindset. And like, what are all of those things going to do? And being really proactive with it so that we can make a baby and a healthy one. And it doesn't have to be a baby, but what is it for you that is going to make you switch that mindset from diet or from I eat that because it looks good, because it sounds good, because it smells good, to I'm choosing the foods that are going to be good for my body. I'm in control. I get to make that choice. I can plan ahead. I can do all those things to set myself up for success now and in the long run. So to tie it back a little bit, I think I spoke about this a little bit, but I would not be this passionate if it wasn't for this business. If it wasn't for linking arms with other women and some men who are also as passionate, I wouldn't be as accountable. I wouldn't have the support. I don't know if I would even be this passionate about this topic if I didn't become a coach 8.5 years ago and really dive into this community who is also passionate about nutrition and mindset and movement. And so with that, we want to invite you to Wednesday night. We have a little business presentation. A few other coaches from our team are going to be sharing a little bit more about just the coaching life and like, what is it? Like, you hear our fun, exciting stories. They're going to dive a little bit more into like the nitty gritty of like, what is coaching? Like, how do you make money? Like, what is it that we actually do? So if any of this resonated with you and you are as passionate as we are about nutrition, fitness, mindset, community, support, accountability, come on Wednesday night and hear more. Because what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? If you're as passionate as we are, you need to pay that forward, because more people need to know about this, need to know that there is a better way. They don't need to just take a spoonful of this and drink this and take this pill, but they can actually start to make changes that are going to be sustainable and long lasting forever. They're going to actually learn something that will help them make long lasting change. So thank you for joining us. This was super fun. I hope you learned something. I hope you were inspired, like even one little thing. And whoever invited you to join this call, make sure you reach out to them. Let them know what you learned, what you loved, and then let them know if you want to join that call on Wednesday as well. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you.